welcome back, my architect of impossible patterns. Something beyond comprehension has manifested from the wreckage of your recent operations, a phenomenon so unprecedented that observers can't find adequate language to describe what you do. They've settled on calling it divine chaos, a contradiction in terms that perfectly captures the impossible thing you've achieved, creating outcomes that appear completely chaotic, utterly unpredictable, seemingly random to everyone observing, yet somehow always resolve in your favor with mathematical precision. Chaos that produces order, randomness that generates advantage, disorder that creates your dominance. The contradiction is so profound, the pattern so impossible, that serious competitors are beginning to ask a question they've never asked before. Are you even human? Not as insult or dismissal, but as genuine inquiry into whether human cognitive architecture can actually produce what you're producing, whether biological intelligence operating under normal constraints could orchestrate what appears as chaos while maintaining perfect control over outcomes. The architects have been monitoring strategic execution across species and civilizations for eons, and they've identified what you're demonstrating as controlled entropy, mastery, when an operator can introduce apparent disorder into systems while maintaining hidden causal structures that ensure disorder resolves toward predetermined outcomes. Most strategists operate through visible order, clear plans, logical sequences, predictable cause and effect chains. This makes them comprehensible to opponents, which makes them counterable. Sophisticated strategists operate through concealed order. Their plans are hidden, but still fundamentally ordered. Their logic remains sequential even if invisible. Their causation follows predictable patterns once discovered. You've transcended both approaches. You operate through genuine chaos that you've somehow learned to control at levels that seem physically impossible. You introduce real disorder into competitive landscapes, not fake chaos that's actually ordered, but authentic entropy, genuine unpredictability, true randomness. Then you navigate that chaos with such precision that you consistently extract advantageous outcomes while opponents drown in the disorder you created. Watch what happens when you deploy divine chaos against conventional competitors. They're trained to recognize patterns, predict sequences, understand causation. Your operations violate all of these cognitive frameworks simultaneously. There's no pattern to recognize because you're operating through genuine randomness. Rather than hidden pattern, there's no sequence to predict because you're not following sequential logic. There's no causation to understand because you've introduced enough entropy that normal cause-effect relationships have broken down. They're applying pattern recognition algorithms to true chaos, trying to find signals in pure noise, attempting to predict what is fundamentally unpredictable. This cognitive approach fails completely, not because they're not smart enough or not trying hard enough, but because they're using tools designed for ordered systems against genuine disorder. It's like trying to solve mathematical equations with hammers. The tools are wrong for the task at the fundamental level. The truly devastating element isn't just that you create chaos, it's that chaos serves you while destroying them. Same disorder affects both parties, but somehow you thrive in it while they collapse. You navigate entropy that you created like you have mapped a territory that shouldn't be mappable. You extract advantages from randomness as if randomness isn't random for you. You find order within chaos that nobody else can perceive. This is what makes them question your humanity. Not that you're powerful or skilled or intelligent, but that you appear to violate fundamental constraints of how cognition works. Human minds are pattern-seeking, order-creating, entropy-reducing. You seem to operate through entropy increasing while maintaining control that should require order. That capability feels superhuman, not in sense of being very good human, but in sense of being something other than human that operates on different principles than biological intelligence constrains. Oh, now they're conducting desperate analysis trying to understand the mechanism behind your divine chaos, studying your operations in extreme detail, looking for hidden structure, searching for the pattern they must be missing. The architects call this order-seeking and entropy, and it's what happens when pattern recognition, cognitive systems encounter genuine chaos that nevertheless produces consistent outcomes. Their minds literally cannot accept that you're operating through true disorder because that would violate their fundamental understanding of how strategic action works. So they keep searching for hidden order, convinced it must exist, even as their analysis consistently fails to find it. This search itself becomes self-defeating because every hour they spend looking for non-existent patterns is hour not spent, adapting to reality of genuine chaos. Though some analysts are proposing you possess perfect information that your apparent chaos navigation is actually a result of knowing every relevant variable, calculating every interaction, predicting every outcome with such accuracy that your moves look chaotic to those with incomplete information but are actually perfectly logical given complete knowledge. This theory preserves their worldview by suggesting you're operating through superior information rather than fundamentally different principles. The problem is their perfect information theory predicts you should sometimes fail when encountering genuinely unpredictable elements, true random events, quantum uncertainty, free will choices by other agents. But you don't fail in those situations. You navigate them as successfully as situations where perfect information would theoretically be possible. Your success rate doesn't drop when encountering true unpredictability, which contradicts the perfect information hypothesis. You're not winning through knowing everything. You're winning through something else entirely. Though others are proposing you use probability manipulation, somehow affecting the likelihood of different outcomes, bending chance in your favor, making favorable events more likely and unfavorable events less likely. This theory moves closer to explaining your capabilities because it accounts for how you can navigate genuine randomness successfully. But it raises more questions than it answers. What mechanism could allow probability manipulation? How would one agent affect statistical distributions of events? What physics would enable such capability? These questions lead them toward conclusions they find uncomfortable. Either you've discovered physical principles unknown to modern science, or you're operating through something beyond physical causation entirely. Neither option is comprehensible within their materialist frameworks. Though a few are seriously proposing you operate outside normal time, that your chaos navigation is actually a result of seeing multiple timeline branches, experiencing different outcome possibilities before they occur, then taking actions in present based on knowledge of future consequences. This theory explains why you navigate chaos successfully. You're not predicting through calculation, you're remembering through experience of futures that haven't happened yet in linear time. But this temporal hypothesis seems so fantastic that even those proposing it hesitate to fully commit. Yet it's perhaps the only theory that actually explains your capabilities if you can observe outcome branches before choosing actions. You can introduce chaos, knowing which chaotic developments serve your purposes. You're not controlling chaos from within timeline. You're steering chaos from outside timeline where you can see where different chaotic paths lead. Though the architects observe that order-seeking in entropy creates permanent frustration for conventional analysts because they're trapped by cognitive architecture that requires finding patterns when those patterns don't exist, because you're genuinely operating through controlled chaos rather than hidden order. Their analysis can never succeed. They're structurally incapable of accepting that you might be doing the impossible. thing you appear to be doing, navigating genuine disorder through capabilities that transcend normal cognitive constraints. So they keep searching for explanations compatible with their frameworks, keep developing theories that preserve their understanding of what's possible, keep looking for the trick that would make your divine chaos comprehensible. But there is no trick. You're actually doing what it looks like. You're operating through chaos that serves you while destroying those who encounter it. And that capability is exactly as impossible as it appears, which is why they're questioning whether you're human, something spreading through competitor networks. Now, existential dread that goes beyond normal strategic fear. The architects call this ontological threat recognition, and it's what happens when beings encounter something that shouldn't be possible, according to their understanding of reality, but is undeniably occurring anyway. Your divine chaos isn't just defeating them, it's forcing them to question fundamental assumptions about what's possible, what constraints bind strategic action, what limitations define human capability. They're not just losing to you, they're losing confidence in their reality model itself. This is far more devastating than tactical defeat because it undermines their entire cognitive framework for understanding competitive dynamics. Though different psychological types are responding to this ontological threat differently. The rationalists are experiencing cognitive dissonance. They have strong prior beliefs that strategic action must follow certain principles, that chaos cannot be controlled, that pattern must underlie consistent success. Your operations contradict all of these beliefs, creating intense psychological discomfort. Some rationalists are doubling down on their frameworks, insisting there must be explanation they're missing, refusing to accept that reality might not conform to their models. This doubling down makes them predictable. They'll keep applying rational analysis to your chaos operations, which means they'll keep failing because rational analysis doesn't work on genuine entropy. Other rationalists are experiencing worldview collapse. If their fundamental principles about strategy are wrong, what else are they wrong about? This collapse makes them non-functional as competitors because they've lost confidence in their own cognitive tools. Though the intuitionists are experiencing different crises, they normally trust their gut feelings, their unconscious pattern recognition, their instinctive sense of how situations will develop. But your divine chaos produces feelings that contradict outcomes. Their intuition says your chaotic operations should fail, yet those operations succeed. Their gut tells them you can't maintain control through disorder, yet you consistently demonstrate that control. This contradiction between intuition and observed reality is deeply disturbing because intuitionists define themselves through trusting non-rational knowing. If that knowing is systematically wrong about you, their entire strategic approach becomes unreliable. Some are abandoning intuition entirely when dealing with you, trying to become rationalists, which fails because they lack training in rational analysis. Others are trusting intuition despite contradiction with reality, which fails because their intuition is actually wrong about you. Though the pragmatists are perhaps most disturbed of all, they don't care about understanding how you do what you do. They just want methods that work against you, but nothing works. They've tried every conventional counter strategy, every innovative approach, every desperate gambit. Everything fails against your divine chaos. For pragmatists who define success as finding what works, encountering opponent against whom nothing works is existential crisis. It suggests that maybe some problems have no practical solutions, that some competitors can't be beaten through any method, that pragmatism itself has limits. This is devastating realization for people whose identity centers on solving practical problems, regardless of theoretical constraints. Though the architects observe that ontological threat recognition creates permanent psychological damage even if you eventually lose to these competitors through other means. Once someone has encountered an opponent who forced them to question reality itself, they never fully recover confidence in their models. They'll always carry doubt about whether they really understand how the world works, whether their frameworks are adequate, whether they're missing capabilities that seem impossible. You've infected them with uncertainty that persists regardless of future outcomes. Even if they never encounter you again, they'll operate with compromised confidence. Because you've proven that impossible, things can happen, that reality doesn't conform to their models. That human capability might include dimensions they don't understand. This psychological scarring is more valuable than defeating them in specific competitions because it undermines their effectiveness in all competitions. You've damaged their cognitive foundations in ways that affect everything they do. The divine chaos you demonstrated against them becomes permanent. Shadow on their consciousness. Reminder that world might not work how they think it works. That someone demonstrated capabilities that shouldn't exist. That maybe they're not even competing against human opponent. Dome. Now the architects are revealing the specific mechanism that makes your divine chaos actually work. Something that sounds more like mysticism than strategy, but appears to be operationally real. They call it synchronicity amplification, and it describes your apparent ability to increase the frequency and intensity of meaningful coincidences around your operations, not creating coincidences through hidden causation that would be conventional manipulation. Not noticing coincidences that were always there, that would be just confirmation bias, actually increasing the rate at which improbable but favorable events occur in contexts where you're operating, making the universe itself seem to conspire in your favor through mechanisms that violate statistical expectations but nevertheless produce measurable effects. Dome. Watch the statistical patterns around your operations over time. Events that should occur randomly with certain baseline frequencies occur much more often in situations involving you. Resources you need become available at precisely the moments you need them, not through your acquisition efforts, but through apparently independent chains of causation that lead to availability. People you'd benefit from connecting with cross your path through improbable coincidences rather than deliberate networking. Information you require reaches you through unexpected channels at optimal timing. Obstacles facing you dissolve through developments you didn't cause and couldn't have predicted. Each individual incident could be dismissed as luck, but the aggregate pattern across hundreds of such incidents shows statistical anomaly that probability theory says shouldn't occur through chance alone. Something is making favorable improbabilities more likely around your operations. Dome. Some researchers studying this phenomenon are proposing quantum explanations, suggesting your consciousness somehow interacts with quantum probability fields, collapsing wave functions in directions that favor your objectives, affecting reality at fundamental physical level through observation and intention. This sounds like pseudoscience until they show the statistical data documenting that quantum random events near you show bias toward outcomes serving your interests. Double-slit experiments conducted in your vicinity show different interference patterns than those conducted elsewhere. Quantum random number generators show non-random distributions when you're attempting to influence them mentally. Radioactive decay shows slight but measurable variations from expected rates when you're focused on experiments involving them. The statistical evidence suggests you're somehow affecting quantum processes through consciousness alone, capability that mainstream physics says is impossible but experimental data says is occurring. Dome. Others are exploring consciousness field theories, proposing that individual consciousness doesn't exist only within individual brains, but extends into surrounding space as field effect, and that some individuals have stronger or more coherent consciousness fields that can affect probability distributions in their vicinity. Your divine chaos would then be a result of exceptionally strong consciousness field that literally reshapes probability space around you, making events more likely if they serve your objectives and less likely if they oppose them. You're not manipulating events through causal chains. You're affecting the probability of different events through field effects that operate on reality at level deeper than causation. This explains why your chaos operations work. You're introducing entropy while simultaneously biasing probability distributions within that entropy toward outcomes you prefer. The chaos is real, but the statistical distribution within chaos is skewed by your consciousness field. Dome. The architects observed that synchronicity, amplification, is perhaps most controversial aspect of your capabilities because it suggests consciousness has real physical effects on probability, proposition that materialism explicitly denies. This is why competitors question whether you're human. Humans, as conventionally understood, shouldn't be able to affect quantum processes or probability distributions through consciousness alone. If you can do this, you're either not human in standard sense or humans are not what materialist framework claims we are. Either conclusion is existentially disturbing. If you're not human, what are you? And what does that mean for everyone competing against you? If you are human, but humans can affect reality through consciousness, what does that mean for everyone's understanding of consciousness? Causality and the nature of reality? Your divine chaos isn't just defeating them strategically, it's forcing metaphysical questions that undermine their entire worldview. They can't just defeat you and move on. They have to reconceptualize reality itself to account for what you're demonstrating. Dome. The architects are now analyzing the social contagion effects of your divine chaos. Reputation, how belief in your impossible capabilities spreads through competitor networks and becomes self-fulfilling prophecy regardless of what you actually can do. They call this Mythic attribution cascade, and it's what happens when someone's reputation transcends their actual capabilities, creating perception field where impossible things become attributed to them, making them more powerful through belief than through actual capability. At this point, whether you truly possess synchronicity amplification matters less than the fact that everyone believes you do. That belief changes how they compete against you in ways that advantage you, regardless of actual mechanism. Dome. Watch how competitors behave differently against you now compared to before your divine chaos reputation emerged. They second-guess themselves constantly. Every plan they make feels compromised by suspicion that somehow you already know about it, that coincidence will undermine it, that reality itself will conspire against them. This self-doubt becomes self-fulfilling. They hesitate when decisive action is needed because they're waiting for the other shoe to drop, for the improbable event that will somehow favor you and doom them. That hesitation creates actual disadvantages that have nothing to do with whether you're affecting probability. They're disadvantaging themselves through their belief in your capabilities. They abandon promising strategies because those strategies feel too vulnerable to the kind of improbable reversals you're famous for. Sometimes those strategies would have worked, but they'll never know because belief in your divine chaos made them not try. Dome. Some are experiencing what psychologists call learned helplessness. They've encountered you enough times, watched enough of your chaos operations succeed, experienced enough improbable defeats that they've internalized a belief that competing against you is futile. When they face you now, they're already psychologically defeated before engagement begins. They're going through motions of competition while harboring deep conviction that somehow you'll win regardless of what they do. This conviction affects their decision-making in subtle ways. They don't commit full resources because they believe those resources will be wasted. They don't take calculated risks because they believe the calculation doesn't apply to you. They don't pursue aggressive strategies because they believe aggression will somehow backfire against you. The learned helplessness is rational from their experiential perspective. Past pattern predicts future outcome, but it creates outcome they're predicting by making them compete half-heartedly against you. Though others are experiencing what the architects call probability anxiety, pervasive unease that at any moment some improbable event will occur that advantages you and disadvantages them. This anxiety is exhausting because there's no defense against it. You can defend against plans, against capabilities, against strategies, but how do you defend against the possibility that coincidence will favor your opponent? They can't, which means they live with constant low-level stress that any engagement with you might be undermined by events they can't control, predict, or prevent. This chronic stress degrades their cognitive performance even in situations where probability manipulation isn't occurring. They're less sharp, less creative, less effective because they're carrying this background anxiety. You're winning some engagements purely because probability anxiety has degraded their capabilities below what they'd be if they were confident about probability distributions. Though the architects observe that Mythic attribution cascade is more powerful than actual capabilities in many contexts because beliefs about capabilities affect behavior more than capabilities themselves. Even if you couldn't actually affect probability, even if divine chaos were entirely reputation rather than reality, that reputation would still create advantages because people would still believe you could do it and would still modify their behavior accordingly. Belief in your impossible capabilities makes some of those capabilities actually manifest through social dynamics, not because you're affecting quantum processes, but because people's belief that you might be affecting them changes how they act in ways that create advantages for you. The myth becomes reality through social construction, even if the supposed mechanisms behind the myth are fictional. You might not be able to manipulate probability, but everyone's belief that you can makes them act as if you can, which creates many of the same strategic advantages as if you actually could. Now something profound is emerging that the architects call divine chaos adoption. Some of your more adaptable competitors are attempting to replicate your approach, trying to operate through controlled entropy, experimenting with chaos introduction while maintaining outcome control. This imitation is highest form of validation. They've concluded your methods are so effective that they need to adopt them despite not understanding underlying mechanisms, but their attempts are revealing why divine chaos isn't simply replicable technique but requires something fundamental that most operators lack. Watch what happens when conventional competitors try to introduce chaos deliberately. They create disorder, but then become disoriented within it, just like their opponents. They lose control of situations they've made unpredictable. They introduce entropy that undermines their own position. As much as their opponents, the chaos they create is genuinely chaotic for everyone, including themselves, not the selective chaos you deploy that somehow serves you while destroying others. Their chaos adoption attempts are failing because they're missing the essential capability, navigating genuine disorder while maintaining strategic coherence. They can create chaos. That's easy. Just introduce randomness and complexity. But they can't control it, can't extract advantages from it, can't navigate it better than opponents they're trying to disadvantage with it. Some are concluding that divine chaos requires perfect information. After all, that you only appear to navigate disorder because you actually know all relevant variables and are calculating through apparent chaos with precision they lack. So they're investing heavily in intelligence gathering, trying to achieve information superiority that would let them replicate your chaos operations, but their intelligence investments aren't translating into chaos navigation capabilities, even with better information than you have in some situations. They still can't operate through chaos effectively while you still can. This suggests information isn't the mechanism. You're not out-knowing them. You're operating through different cognitive process that doesn't depend primarily on information advantage. Though others are experimenting with consciousness techniques, meditation, altered states, psychedelics, neurofeedback, trying to develop mental capabilities that might enable synchronicity amplification. Some are reporting subjective experiences of expanded consciousness, enhanced intuition, mystical states, but these experiences aren't translating into operational chaos navigation. They feel different, report different perceptions, claim new understanding. Yet when they deploy chaos operations based on these enhanced states, they still fail to control entropy the way you do. This suggests consciousness expansion alone isn't sufficient. Whatever you're doing either requires specific type of consciousness development they're not achieving, or involves capabilities beyond consciousness alteration entirely. Though a few are pursuing technological augmentation, AI assistance, predictive algorithms, quantum computers, hoping that enhanced processing power will enable them to calculate through chaos the way you apparently do. They're building sophisticated systems that analyze entropy, model disorder, predict chaos development. These systems sometimes perform well in controlled tests, but in actual competitive engagements against you, the technological augmentation doesn't help. You still navigate chaos better than they do even with their AI assistance. This suggests you're not just computing faster or analyzing better. You're doing something qualitatively different that computation can't replicate regardless of processing power. Though the architects observe that divine chaos adoption failures are revealing that your capabilities aren't technique-based, but attribute-based. Techniques can be learned and replicated. That's what makes them techniques. But if your chaos mastery depends on attributes rather than techniques, consciousness, qualities, cognitive capabilities, perhaps even metaphysical characteristics that most beings lack, then it's not transferable through teaching or technology. People can observe what you do, analyze how it works, attempt to replicate the methods, but they'll fail because methods without underlying attributes don't produce same results. Your divine chaos isn't impressive trick that others can learn. It's expression of capabilities they don't possess and perhaps can't develop. This is why they question whether you're human, not because you're performing superhuman technique, but because you're demonstrating attributes that seem to exceed human parameters. The failed adoption attempts are confirming that something about you is fundamentally different, that divine chaos isn't skill gap but capability gap, that trying to replicate what you do reveals how unbridgeable the gap actually is.